Hey y'all, it's Crystal. Welcome back. Today is another shelf highlight. This now empty shelf right here is what we're going to be going over today. And it's kind of a mix. I've got some like classics on here. I've got kind of general fiction, literary fiction. It's a hodgepodge of stuff. It was kind of more my literary fiction classics shelf, but as I run out of room, frankly, other stuff gets shoved in. So, what are you gonna do? So let's jump right in. Another tour of my library. So we'll just start right here. Man, Child, and the Promised Land by Claude Brown. And like usual, I probably will not have read most of these books. So let me know if something, yeah, you should read that, Crystal, and sooner rather than later. I think it's kind of an autobiography, so maybe I should actually go my nonfiction section, but it has ended up on this shelf. Sometimes it just is what it is, I have Roxane Gay's An Untamed State. Yeah, I've not read this either. Blurg. I'd love to read some of her fiction work. I read a couple of, I read some of her nonfiction. But All the Birds in the Sky by Charlie Jane Anders. And I think this is actually a bit more sci-fi. So it's, again, I've got stuff mixed in now, but I haven't read it yet. The Way the Crow Flies by Anne Marie MacDonald. It sounds lovely. Sounds sort of coming of age-ish, a bit historical. Excitement around the space race. There's Cold War, that kind of time period. We follow an 8-year-old Madeline, who her family is on an Air Force base. And I kind of think it just, kind of goes through that. But it's a long one, so that's probably why I've not picked it up. But it sounds really good. And it's got good reviews. I've got Look at the Birdie by Kurt Vonnegut. This is a Vonnegut I have not read. This is, and these are short stories, I believe. Yeah. So a collection of short fiction. This slim little thing of The Body Artist by Don DeLillo. I don't know why I haven't read this one yet, but is it any good? Am I read it? Faulkner's As I Lay Dying. Yep. You guessed it. This I need to put in my short story pile, I guess. But Alien Virus Love Disaster, short stories by Abby May Otis. Contemporary fiction at its strongest, taking apart the supposed equality that is clearly just not there, putting humans under an alien microscope, putting humans under government control. Yada yada yada. Sounds great. I should put that in my... this was one of my husband's books. Elfstones of Shannara. He was a big Shannara fan growing up. So some of his books might be mixed in here. The Book Thief by Marcus Zuzak. I love this book. This is a really great story. You read it sort of from the perspective of death during World War II. It was really good. I liked it. Let's see. North and South, Elizabeth Gaskell. I ain't read it yet. Cry the Beloved Country, Helen Payton. I ain't ready yet. I ain't ready yet either. Oh, Blood Done Sign My Name by Timothy B. Tyson. We ain't read that yet either. I think this definitely deal with race. Probably, I think, in the South. Southern U.S. Daniel Wallace's Big Fish. I haven't read this either. He's local. He's, I think, a North Carolina writer. Of course, I've seen the movie, but I need to read that book. I've got a few Jane Austens. I've got Sense and Sensibility, Persuasion, Northanger Abbey. I do have Pride and Prejudice somewhere. Where's that one? It's all out of order. I got Wuthering Heights. Oh, this is an Emily Bronte. Y'all, I struggled with Wuthering Heights. I did not care for that book. Jane Eyre. I haven't read this one either. That's a long one. Ooh, oh no. Got Kitchen by Minami Yoshimoto. A Man Called Ove by Frederick Buckman. I've only read Beartown so far from him, but I do want to read more. I've got a couple of Kazuo Ishiguro's, The Remains of the Day, and Never Let Me Go. I've only read Never Let Me Go. I've got the movie tie-in version, but I still need to read this one. I still want to read the newest one, too. Zora Neale Hurston, Their Eyes Were Watching God. I love this cover. It's so beautiful. It's got some, like, gold foiling. Oh, it's so pretty. It's so pretty. Voyage to Kazuhina by Sandor Strathmari. This is a weird book that I just can't seem to part with, because every time I'm like, oh, I'll just get rid of it because I'm not going to ever read it. But then I read the back and it's like, oh, I really want to read it. So, you know, so this, let's see. It is translated from Hungarian by Inez Jimenez. And this came out, when did it come out? In 2012? No, this version came out 2012. What's the original? I don't know. Okay, 1975. No, 1941. 1941. So it's kind of like a classic Hungarian dystopian type novel. It sounds awesomely weird, which is why I still have it on my shelf. I'm thinking of doing like a weird focus month. Maybe I'll finally read it then. The Dream Daughter by Diane Chamberlain. I've heard really good stuff about this one. I haven't got to it yet. Catch-22 by Joseph Heller. Read this a million years ago. Still have my old copy. Lanny by Max Porter. I heard such good things about it, so I went and bought the book and never read it. You know, like you do. The Outsiders, S.E. Hinton. This really cool copy. I don't know, I like this. One of those, what do they call it, French flaps or something. Yeah. So many books, so little time. And I guess this should probably go in my nonfiction. This is a memoir. This Boy's Life, of course, by Tobias Wolff. Really not a great cover, but one of my favorite books is Census by Jessie Ball. I love this book. I've talked about this book on my channel. I love this book so much. The Glass Castle by Jeanette Walls, which I think is also a memoir. So some of these should go in my nonfiction book, I guess, but I've heard good things about this one too. The Birth of Venus by Sarah Dunant, a horse historical fiction about set during the Renaissance, about, you know, artists and painters and stuff. It just sounds good. Above the Waterfall, Ron Rash, some Southern Lit. He's, of course, an North Carolina Appalachian author. Cruel, Beautiful World by Caroline Leavitt. It sounded good. So backdropped by the Vietnam War and the Manson murders, fast-moving page-turner about the naivete of youth and the malignity of power. You just see, every time I think I'm gonna like unhaul books because I'm never gonna read it. It's been on my shelf for years. I read the back. I'm like, I have Mudbound by Hillary Jordan. Move the sort of Netflix cover tie-in. Really, the vast majority of books I buy are from thrift stores, so I don't really care too much about the cover sometimes. The Reader by Bernard Schlink. I got Milkman by Anna Burns. Still haven't read this one either. I've got a couple of Kate Quinns. I've got The Huntress and The Alice Network. That, you guessed it, I have not read yet. Let's see what else we got over here. Swamplandia by Karen Russell. I still need to read this. I want to read this so bad. It's about a 13-year-old who lives in a family. Their family home is a gator wrestling theme park in the Florida Everglades. I mean, yeah. So this is Little Heathens. This is Hard Times and High Spirits on an Iowa Farm During the Great Depression by Mildred Armstrong Kalish. Had a friend send this one to me. It does sound quite lovely. And I think this might be a nonfiction also. My books are just all mixed up. The Tattooist of Auschwitz by Heather Morris. I don't know if I'm going to read that. Water for Elephants by Sarah Gruen, that I still haven't read. Hunchback of Notre Dame by Victor Hugo. I ain't read it yet. Fool's Crow by James Welsh. I think I'm gonna pick this up for June on the Range. And I've got quite a few. Well, quite a few. 3. I feel like I have more actually Nick Hornby books. About a Boy. How to Be Good. Whoops. And High Fidelity. This I read a million years ago. So I have read some of those. I'm just trying to put them on the shelf as I go, though. The Immortalist by Chloe Benjamin just sounded so cool. The Muse by Jessie Burton. I love that cover. It's so cool. Alice Walker's The Temple of My Familiar. This is sort of a follow-up to Color Purple, which I've just read recently, so I need to pick this one up. Right. A couple Cormac McCarthy books, The Road and No Country for Old Men. My husband has read both of these, but I have not yet. Which is kind of nuts because he's not much of a reader at all, but he reads from time to time. Alright. I've got, so here's another Ron Rash. No, I've told you that already. Okay, I told you that one already. Love in the Time of Cholera, Gabriel Garcia Marquez. Now, have I read this one or did I read the other one? I don't even remember now. Winky by Clifford Chase, a very strange book about a little teddy bear who's confused to be a terrorist. Some Anne Sexton poems that I've read recently that were delightful. Oops. Eudora Welty's The Ponder Heart. Another strange book that I want to read. Atmospheric Disturbances by Rivka Galchen. So let me see. I don't know if this is okay, it's not translated, but it just sounds so weird. Oh, here's another. Gabriel Garcia Marquez. I thought I had another one. Gabriel Garcia Marquez, Of Love and Other Demons. I think I've read this one. So I don't think I've read Love in the Time of Cholera, but I feel like I have read this one. And I think I read it back in college, so it's been a long time ago now, but I have read it. David Joyce, some more Southern Appalachian literature, Where All Light Tends to Go. I've not read this one yet. I have read David Joy, but I have not read this one. He's fantastic, though. Some Lisa C. books, The Shanghai Girls, Dreams of Joy. I have another of her books. Where is it? Yes, I have The Snowflower and The Secret Fan. Historical fiction type books. Tar Baby, Toni Morrison. I have Toni Morrison's Home. I have The Bluest Eye. I recently picked up some more Toni Morrison, so I need to kind of add those to that shelf, but you know how that goes. Let's see, I've got some Irvine Welsh. I've had these books forever. I have Filth. I have Ecstasy. And I have The Acid House. This one I think is short stories. Yeah. Short story collection. I read these years ago. Years and years ago. Let's see. Stuff on the shelf. I have a Tracy Chevalier, The Last Runaway. Dorothy Allison, Cave Dweller. Oh! I have Jazz by Toni Morrison. That stuff's all out of order. The Female Man. Requiem for a Dream, which I still haven't finished. Oh, and there's my Pride and Prejudice. I know I had a copy, so now I can put my Jane Austen books together. What else is over here? I got this little kind of poetry pamphlet, Feeding the Light. I read this one recently also. And that is it. I thought I was going to probably unhaul some of those books, but I don't think I am. I gotta make some space on these shelves though, you guys. Alrighty, that's it. Thanks so much for watching. I'm slowly making my way through this library tour. That was a shelf highlight of some random fiction type books, right? And a few classics sprinkled in. So I hope you're doing well. Thanks for spending time with me as always. I'm always so appreciative of your time. Till next time, bye friends.